What's up, y'all? It's your guy eBay Fight Predictions in the building. We got a very special video for this week. Since we got no fights, I was ready to drop it. So yeah, these are the dark horses of every male UFC weight class to look out for in 2024. All these guys, I feel like, have a real good chance at either becoming champion or being one of those names that everyone knows about in the top 5. I'm very confident in all these guys actually doing really good this year, and all should be considered dark horses that just are not getting enough kind of hype a little bit, and not enough for people talking about. But we did one last year, but this year we're going to do it a little different. We're going to start off from the heavyweight division and down. Usually we start from 125 and up. Now we're going from heavyweight to 125. And at heavyweight, I went with Honata Diniz. Very good Brazilian kickboxer, heavyweight. He looked really good on the Dana White Contender Series. Really good hands, really good leg kicks. Doesn't take a lot to become successful in the heavyweight division, in my humble opinion, but I think he has the necessary athletic requirements. And obviously we know how Dana White loves his little kickboxers, right? So he's gonna obviously get the tailor-made kind of, run. But all the heavyweight strikers should be very scary, because this guy can give him a lot of problems. Now, those grapplers obviously are probably this guy's kryptonite, but guys like Sergey Pavlovich, guys like Tom Aspinall, I think this guy could give him some interesting problems in the in the stand-up. So it would be an interesting showcase for him to be in the division, and I think it would be really awesome, honestly. So but yeah, besides that though, that is for heavyweight. Let's get to light heavyweight. At the light heavyweight division, I went with Carlos Ulberg. Mr. Team City Kickboxing has another dark horse that doesn't get enough hype, man. I think after his loss to Kennedy, people kind of looked at him in a specific way, but I mean, he's been on a pretty good KO streak ever since that loss. Hasn't lost a fight. Looked really good. He was scheduled to fight Dominic Reyes. Now he's fighting Alonzo Menefield, which I think is a more of a fair, more honest kind of competition that he can face. But his performance against Do Yoon Jung was really good. He completely outclassed him on the feet, and then just to sub him in the last few seconds the third round was really impressive. I think he's someone to look out for. Has a lot of good skill, decent grappling, really good striking, more of a counter striker than anything, to be honest. But City Kickboxing, they produce talent, they produce contenders, and I think he's another contender they're going to produce. I think he becomes a ranked fighter in 2024 and someone to look out for. So yeah, at 185, you guys already know, there's only one dark horse at 185 pounds. His name is Brendan Allen. He's getting his second main event in a couple of months, so can't wait to watch that one. But Brendan Allen, you guys know I love me some Brendan Allen. I think he's gotten so much better in his striking in particular. He's always been a dark horse ever since the first day I saw him fight Kyle Dawkins, right? I know how good he is. I know what he presents. Obviously, he does have those losses to Chris Curtis and Sean Strickland, but Sean Strickland was just the champion a few days ago, so there's no shame in that. Chris Curtis, now that one, I think that was below his level. I think he would rectify that in a rematch, but Brendan Allen has just looked amazing. His striking has just gotten so much better, and I'm just a little more confident in him day by day to get that belt. I think obviously his grappling is always going to be his ace, but his ability to mix it up and just be a problem for these guys. What he did to Paul Craig should be a crime. You know what I'm saying? What he did to that man Paul Craig should be a crime. That man went out there and destroyed Paul Craig. No mercy. Choked out, the jiu-jitsu fucking wizard, the triangle master Paul Craig, the guy that beat Uncle Live and Jamal Hill, this and that. Brendan Allen did him dirty. So I think Brendan Allen versus Marvin Vettori is going to be great. I can't wait for that. But hey, it is what it is. But besides that though, Brendan Allen is my dark horse at 185. At 170, that one was kind of hard. I ended up going with Renat. I'm not the biggest fan of Renat. Obviously, he did my boy Kevin Lee dirty, and I thought he got primarily kind of exposed against Zaleski Dos Santos, but it wasn't a bad fight. Obviously, Renat is super talented. Obviously, he is a little bit of Cliff Dweller in him, but besides all of that, though, decent wrestling. Striking obviously needs to get a little better, but he is a problem for a lot of guys. You know, if you fought Ian Gary, it's a good, honest, toss him up kind of fight. You know what I'm saying? 50-50 on both sides. I think Ian might smoke him on the feet, but I think Renat could make easy work of him on the ground. You know, so he's still someone to look out for. And obviously, if he wins his next fight, everyone's going to be right back on the train. I do think he isn't anything special in the division, and right now the division is just so I mean that top five, and you know, Gilbert Burns, Bilal Muhammad, Leon Edwards, you know, Shavkat Rakhmonov, is such a stone-walled top five. I don't think a lot of these guys are going to penetrate that top five in a very long time. You know, I know Jack Della Maddalena is going to make a push, and I just don't see that fluctuation coming very soon. And I don't know if Renat could do it, but out of the lower guys, he seems like he's one of the only guys that are trying to be more well-rounded than the rest of his crop. You know, the Jeff Neals, the Ian Garys, the Jack Della Maddalenas, they all seem somewhat striking based. He seems like he's trying to keep a well-rounded game. So obviously, I think Renat has a lot of a chance to to break out. You know, if he continues to get better, and that's the big question mark. Will he get better? You know, so yeah. But I think it's fair enough to put him as a dark horse at 170 still, even if he had that lackluster performance against Dos Santos. So we forgive it. At 155, I went with Benoit Saint Denis. I've been screaming his his accolades, his prophecy to the belt for the longest. I think Benoit Saint Denis is the best lightweight that isn't in the top five right now. I that's how highly I think of him. I think he's gonna beat the living crap out of Dustin Poirier at UFC 299. He is the dark horse of the division. I think the Mafrovolo fight has opened a lot of eyes, but I think a lot of people are underestimating his grappling. I think his grappling is still the best part of his game that he presents, and I think he'll be a big problem for Dustin. I just think he's going to grapple fuck the shit out of him, and you know, mix in the striking with the wrestling and just keep that cycle of insane cardio coming to Swamp Boy, P Head, Dustin Poirier. You know what I'm saying? But it should be a great fight though, nonetheless. So that's my dark horse at 155. At 145, I went with Laurent Murphy. I know Laurent Murphy had that very questionable Gabriel Dos Santos fight, questionable decision, but besides that, he's looked picture perfect. You know, he's given a lot of guys a lot of problems. He was scheduled to fight Dan Ige, but his Joshua Calvillo performance, picture perfect. He looked amazing in there. Looked like a really well-rounded mixed martial artist. Reminds me so much of Leon Edwards every time I see him compete. Obviously, I don't think he's as good as Leon, but I do think he is someone to look out for. He's been on an insane win streak. He hasn't lost a fight and in the UFC, so respect to him there. And he is a legit dude to look out for, and he's getting better, you know. And that's the good thing about him. He's always continuously getting better. He's making the right improvements that he needs to make, and he has dominated most of his competition. He hasn't had a lot of close fights. He hasn't had fights where he's been outclassed. He 90% of the competition he's faced, he's dominated. One of the better UK fighters out there right now, and someone to look out for, honestly, at 145. He could give a lot of guys a lot of problems if he continues the momentum he's on right now. So yeah, 145, Lauren Murphy. At 135, I went with Umar Nurmagomedov. I think a lot of people have forgotten about Umar. You know, we saw what he did. I mean, it was January, what he did to Ronnie Barcelos, but we saw what he did to him. He was scheduled to fight Corey Sandhagen. That fight fell through, and in retrospect, I think he would have beat Corey, honestly. Obviously, even if they run it back, I might root for Corey to beat him. But in retrospect, to be honest, Umar Nurmagomedov, the Corey Sandhagen, the fought Rob Font, and the Umar Nurmagomedov, that's fully healthy, I think he would beat Corey that day. I truly believe it. Just seeing the performance Corey had against Rob Font, just, you know, being completely wrestling based, it just was very weird. Now, obviously, Corey has his excuse, well, not his excuses, his medical reasons why he did perform the way he performed. Obviously messed up elbow, I think that was the issue, or tricep, something like that, was messed up, so he couldn't really strike like that. But besides that, though, Umar Nurmagomedov, I think, has future champ written all over him. I think, you know, him versus a lot of these guys is very interesting. One of the better strikers in the division, and at the same time one of the better grapplers in the division. Has a nice karate stance that he brings to the octagon, and someone to really look out for, and a dangerous prospect to look out for. And I think at the end of 2024 he will be in the top 5. I believe he will make it that far at the end of 2024, but he does need to compete though. So yeah. And at 125, my dark horse to look out for is Alan Nascimento. He hasn't fought a lot of competition. He's fought, he fought Tigran Blekov, I think, in his debut. He lost, but it was a good fight. It was an honest fight, and he gave Tigran problems. Besides that, though, he has choked out or dominated the competition that's been in front of him. What he did to a debuting Jake Hadley, a guy that had all this hype, a guy that everyone was talking about. He completely stuffed him and dominated him. He doesn't get enough hype. He fights out of the Charles Oliveira camp, and he is just a motherfucker. He fights with that same kind of style, but a little more quicker and just more takedown and wrestling base, and obviously uses his BJJ to get the finishes. I think he just needs to fight more, and obviously, the injury bug hasn't been his best friend, but besides that, though, he competes more. He's going to be known throughout the whole entire division as that guy, like, oh my God, Alan Nascimento, best rear naked choke in the game right now. Like, he is legit, man. BJJ is really good. Striking is really good. He is just good everywhere, and he's someone to look out for, honestly. And if they keep feeding him these, bottom feeding guys, he's going to destroy him. So he needs some good competition, and I think in that top 15, man, he gives a lot of guys problems, bro. He gives a lot of guys a lot of problems, and now Alan Nascimento is someone to look out for, and your dark horse for 125. But hope you guys enjoyed the video. Go follow me on my Instagram and my Twitter. Like, comment, and share the video. These are your dark horses to look out for in 2024, though. But hope you guys enjoyed the video. It's your boy eBay, and I'm out of here. Let's get this eBay Fight Prediction Nation growing. Love y'all, and goodbye.
YouTube channel. I'm gonna go check that out, and hey, subscribe to eBay's Fight Prediction. Let's keep the eBay Fight Predictions Nation growing.